Hey there. Why do some people get healthy and some people stay sick? What what's going on? Is it what you're eating or is it what you're not eating? Is it your thoughts and your belief systems? Is it a combination? Well, Barb McLemore is sitting right next to me. And at the age of 29, she had a persistent cough and she was on 2 inhalers and all kinds of steroids. She was also diagnosed with renal cell carcinoma. She almost died several times. And today, Barb, as you can see, is a thriving, active, beautiful, and kind woman. If you want to hear how she healed everything that I just mentioned, and arthritis, rhinitis, and other allergies, then this show is for you. Let's see what else. Join the conversation and join the show and welcome. Barb, I am so excited you're going to share your story with us. Thank you for being a part of this today.
Thank you, Randy. Thank you, audience, for tuning in. It's a great opportunity to be able to help somebody else on their journey. I am a work in progress, and I have a little disclaimer here. I do not give medical advice. I have no medical training, and this is my personal healing journey back to Wellville.
Okay, cool. But hold on. Let me just tell you guys. So if you're watching the show for the first time, we want to welcome you. If you've been on here before, we want to welcome you. This is the Randi Light experience, and so you're probably wondering who I am, not just who Barb is, but what's going to happen today. And those are great questions. So let me take a minute to answer a couple of those now. So my name is Randi Light, and I'm a peak performance coach, and I'm a hypnosis instructor and a healer. And for the past 11 years, I've hypnotized thousands of children and adults to virtually overcome almost everything, including things like fibromyalgia. And I am the author of The Essential 4 and the creator of the Essential 4 system. It's hypnosis combined with coaching, and it gives you everything you need to get out of your own way, to get from where you are to where you want to be, so you can be in a peak state whenever you want and wherever you want. So guys, I'm super excited for Barb. She has all kinds of interesting things that she's going to share. And Marsha, welcome, and thank you for mentioning and saying hello. My first time watching, she's looking forward to this. Well, welcome. We're both really glad that you're here. And that's so great that you mentioned something, Marsha, and any of you that are here, mention that you're here so we know. And it's so fun for us to connect and know that other people are here. So speak up and say hello. Thanks, you guys. And so here's the thing. Send some of those bubbles across the screen. We love those. Send some of the love bubbles, the light bubbles, all those kind of things. And just let other people know that this is happening right now, because Barb is a living example of incredible health. I mean, she is going to share her story, and I've got questions for her. I just want to make sure that I've hit everything before we get going. So we've got Alan. Welcome, Alan.
Hey.
All right, so let's get started, because Barb is itching to share her story, because it is a beautiful one. And I've known Barb for a little while now, a year or two, and I just overheard her talking that this was her. I'm like, what? She's this pillar of health. She dances, she does yoga, she does all these things. And I was like, what? So Barb, oh my God. So where should we begin?
Well, this is my personal healing story, as I mentioned, and a few opinions thrown in too. Not to be taken as medical advice. We each have our own paths and belief systems, which is where Randi is great at helping out. I can't state that enough. And we have karma and our own life stories. This story of mine is not meant for pity or anything like that. It's meant to, if you can relate to any part of it, it might help you save yourself some trauma. Maya Angelou, I love her, and she once said that first you get the pebble, then you get the rock, then you get the boulder. And that's sometimes how we learn. And if you can catch it at the pebble size and not have to go through the rock and the boulder, I recommend it.
Yes, yes, yes. And hypnosis is good for that. But so the reason why you're bringing that up is because you got...
Yeah, I got a lot of boulders.
A lot of boulders.
Okay. So, anyway, I was diagnosed by medical professionals as having COPD, asthma. And by changing my junk food-filled diet to a fully raw, plant-based diet, mostly fruits and fruit-type vegetables, and herbs for support, I got my health back. And
okay, so so were you ever a smoker?
no, but it seemed like everyone I loved and everyone I was around and worked with back in the day, meetings were filled with smoke. And so I got it vicariously. And I'm sure it took its toll. I was always coughing, after I'd come out of a meeting.
Well, I mean, I always think of COPD for smokers. I've never heard of someone who's not a smoker have COPD.
Right.
So what was going on in your life when you got diagnosed? You were 29 and you had COPD and asthma.
Right.
Is it all to do with because you were surrounded by smokers?
I was surrounded by smokers, and I lived a very high stress life. I was an art director at ad agencies in Chicago, and there was never a meeting without smoking or the stress of a deadline. The junk food that I would eat, sometimes I'd be on such a short deadline that it wasn't unlike me to have to do, say, 4 storyboards overnight, which is a lot of work. And the only food available would be a vending machine, and I'd load up on 10 candy bars, sugar, sugar, sugar to get me through the night. And I got the job done. That was the thing, but it nearly killed me. So, and then, that was before the computers were so prevalent. As time went on, and I freelanced out of my house and was able to avoid a lot of those triggers.
Well, describe your life back then.
Oh, I missed out on a lot of stuff. Anytime there was a wedding or family get together, or anytime I had to, knew I'd be around smokers, I knew it would be a trigger. So I was pretty much housebound, and it was not an easy lifestyle. And then
you could still work.
Yeah, I could still just sit at a computer, and sitting upright was about the only means of breathing, and it was just tough. And
so how did you feel about life?
It was very limiting, and you live in this state of fear because you're afraid of getting another trigger, that's going to send you to the ER, or you're afraid that medication isn't going to support you through just even that day. So it was very, very limiting.
You had a husband at the time?
Yes, and for the first 7 years of our marriage, he smoked. And then he wised up and quit, and is doing very well. And but everybody else I was around, any family get together, restaurants, and any kind of outer life in the area and I lived, smoking was very prevalent. And there were other triggers too. Mold was a biggie for me too. And I was tested for allergies, and no food ever showed up on a blood test that I was allergic to anything.
Wow,
or had any triggers by food.
Okay, that's what I learned.
I had that done repeatedly back in the 80s.
So how long were you in a constant state of stress, surrounded by smoke and eating candy?
Pretty much on a daily basis.
Like for 1 year?
No, it was a lifestyle of junk.
5 years?
No, probably more like 10 or more. I lost a kidney because of the way I ate.
Wow.
That's what I take full responsibility for, that. And I don't like labels of any kind. Even referring to myself as plant-based is a label. And to put a label like cancer and put the word "my" before it, even asthma, I never put the word "my" before any dis-ease, because then it owns you. And I think that's a real issue people have. Like I said, we all have stories, but you don't want to stay in a story of disease.
So that's one good important thing. I know when my clients come, they're like, my anxiety, my depression, my pain, and you want to not say that, because just like she said,
right,
it gets you associated and it becomes part of your identity, and then how do it makes a longer road for you to change that, because if it becomes part of your identity, then it's part of you. So great idea.
I'm certainly not, I have nothing against the medical industry.
Well, they saved your life too, right?
They did, and certainly if I had a bone sticking out of me, I'd be rushing to
Right,
that ER.
right. So
But
I want to
as far
say
as-
hi to Lucinia. I don't even know how to say your name. I wish you would spell it out for us so I could say it, because I love that you always join us, and thank you for being part of this. And say if you guys are liking the show and you're really getting curious, because this is a living example. She's a pillar of health. You can tell. And she's gonna tell us what she did to get here. But the thing is I want you to know how bad it was and what she was doing that contributed to that. And one of the questions I asked before was, so sometimes an illness comes on as a result of, a death, you're a caregiver, or there's a lot of stress happening. And yours, I think you said, was because it was generalized over a long period of time.
Right, and as well as family issues. My father had throat cancer, and then later had a stroke. So there was a certain caregiving and a pressure of having somebody you love go through that. So that's partly a little part of the stress that I lived, but mostly it was work related, and just on that treadmill of achieving, and that was a lot of it.
And you did this for many years.
Many years,
you were sick for many years.
Right.
And then what happened?
Well, I finally had to, I was always seeking alternative ways, because the inhalers really weren't doing it. Sometimes, after just coming back from the ER, it would hit again like a second wave. And, I always sought out information. I tried the allopathic method. I tried allergists. And they were all good to a degree, but never got to the cause. And I tried modalities like acupuncture, which again helped me in other ways, but gave sporadic relief. I even followed a Madison, Wisconsin doctor. I think he worked at the university, and he did a study on E. pylori, which is a bacteria in the lungs. And it just really fascinated me from a scientific point of view that somebody had studied that. And he recommended, well, he didn't recommend, but his study involved having a test group take high doses of antibiotics. So I got a doctor locally to try, and I did that for a month, and all my teeth turned brown. And I was really worried about losing all my teeth.
Wow.
And I didn't receive the cure that I was looking for. So dug a little deeper with that, and
how did you feel? So for so many people, they'd have wanted to give up. What held you on?
I think that we all have a survival mechanism that just kicks in, and it's beyond, sure, there's fight or flight, but there's also just that human spirit that we each have, that you know that there's got to be something out there. You just do. And I even tried the Butanko breathing method is one where a lot of asthmatics breathe with their shoulders. They crunch their shoulders up when they inhale, and that is not, and mouth breathe, which I was a big mouth breather. And those are two no-nos. You want to breathe from the lower belly up, and your shoulders aren't really moving. And that was what I learned with Butanko, but still not the cure.
So when you were doing the Butanko and the acupuncture and even the antibiotics and stuff, were you still eating 10 candy bars a day?
No, I was sticking to, I still was on dairy. And that was one of the things, and God bless dairy farmers. I'm sorry that I don't mean to bash or demean anybody's lifestyle or choices. Some people, if dairy works for you, do it. It didn't work for me. It was a mucus former, and once I put the ice cream, and which was a biggie with me.
For a lot of people.
and milk chocolate, that was another biggie. That was, never had a purse empty of milk chocolate. That's when I started seeing some differences and thought, okay, that's one thing.
Even though dairy did not come up as an allergy.
No,
or an
nothing.
Intolerance.
But blood is funny. Blood, even when I was diagnosed with renal cell, that didn't show up in any blood test at all. In fact, all my stats were normal.
So how did they find it? You were just in pain?
I had 1 day of pain, and I was ready to blow it off. And my internist said, no, from what you're describing, which was like a level 10 pain where you're passing out, we got to investigate this. So they found it on the first test, which was an ultrasound, and said, whoa, this is really,
there's a tumor.
There's a tumor, something's.
Wow.
And then, you know.
So if you are enjoying this, please let us know. You know, we want to know that you're here, and if you're hearing her story and you can relate, let us know that too. All right, and send some more bubbles across the screen and all that stuff, and hit the like and love button, and let other people know that this is happening, because we are here together to provide hope and possibilities and options for you, so that you can do something to help get yourself better. So yes.
When I was diagnosed with renal cell and had the kidney out, they basically gave me 2 months to live. They said I had a 40% chance of making it. But
with one kidney?
Because I was the wrong everything. I was, 30 years old, and 2% of cancers at that time were renal cell, and this is like in 1988. And they said I was the wrong sex, the wrong age, the wrong ethnicity, everything. So, and they knew that. They knew I ate, really poorly, and then I had a high stress job.
So you mean you shouldn't have, but in their world, you shouldn't have gotten this kidney issue?
Right. I was an oddity.
But they didn't study to try to figure out what caused it.
No,
yeah,
but
that's the problem.
Interesting, the surgeon who removed my kidney told me that kidneys do not like protein, and that kind of stuck with me. Wasn't willing to give up dairy just then, but I thought, well, I can probably give up meat. I was never that big of a meat eater, So I thought, well, 2 months, huh? So for those first 2 months, it was still kind of like not that great of food. But after the 2 months, and knowing that I had a chance to survive, I thought, no, I've got to get better. I can be a vegetarian. And so,
who told you to be a vegetarian?
The surgeon.
The surgeon.
Mm-hmm.
So Marcia, is it too early to ask questions? No, you can go ahead, post that, and then we'll get to it for sure. So the surgeon told you that he's the one who said about that kidneys don't like protein.
And so by lessening my protein, it probably saved my other kidney, and that's what they kind of.
So how did you get better? So there's a statistic, you guys out there, that says 80% of people who go to a doctor and get diagnosed with cancer and then given a forecast of when they're going to die, that up to 80% will die right around the day the doctor tells them.
Right.
That's power of beliefs. That's the power of your subconscious mind. So 20% rebel. You're like,
right. But even when the doctor diagnosed me with COPD, asthma, I said, I do not have asthma. I was very adamant. I never accepted that diagnosis. So I went in, and some might call it denial, but I was like, I'm not having it. And I just never believed in labels of any kind. So I think that was important. It's a mental space, the belief system that actually worked in my favor. Yeah. Is not being attached to an outcome, because we don't know, nobody knows. And to say I know, I know what I know, but I don't know what I don't know. So
so you listened to the doctor and you stopped eating meat.
Yeah.
And you felt a little better?
A little bit better, but that's even subjective, because it was quite the emotional adjustment to get over even losing a kidney like that. And back in the day, it was called Black and Decker surgery. Now they kind of just suck kidneys out when they're,
okay.
And that's a totally different thing. But,
okay.
It was a serious deal, and it was just bad. But
all right. So what else? So
I kept, for the next at least 10 years, I kept on having to do ER trips, and still working
for the next 10 years.
Yeah, it was not regularly, but just out of the blue. If there was a drop in temperature, this area, you can drop 40, 50 degrees in one day. You know, one minute it's spring, and the next you're back in the deep freeze of winter. And that would set off an event. So, you know, took a lot of medicines, and, you know, and during that time also, I had to be retested for renal cell. And, you know, I just didn't know any better back then.
Right.
But, so my system was being deluged with dyes and a lot of radiation. And, you know, to prove that I was free of any disease. So, you
which
know,
can
which
cause
can
problems,
cause you to get a disease. So,
and my dad had a reaction to the dye.
I had a sister who
go well,
reacted to a dye as well.
So another 10 years, but you lived longer than they said you would.
And investigating all these things. But when I hit my 50s, things started to really change. I rented a yoga tape from the library, and because I wanted to learn at least what the postures or asanas were before going to any kind of class, to see if there was something that could help. I had read somewhere that yoga had breathing, you know, pranayama methods, and so I thought, give that a try. And I went to Brink Across here locally, and they had a beautiful soul of a teacher, yogini. I just love her. And she's
fine with us mentioning.
Oh, Cynthia Smith. She taught hatha yoga in a restorative form, and she also taught meditation. And so I just first started out with meditation, because I really thought, you know, I got to get my mind in a good place, and this is going to help with belief systems, and it did. Yeah, it's
so you started meditating like 20 minutes
daily,
a day?
Yeah. Daily. Well, first, no, Cynthia starts you at just like 5 minutes, just, you know, or even 2 minutes, you know, very simple stuff. One of the things was, let's see if I can do this. I am at peace. I am at peace. And the interesting thing, when I first learned this and was doing this on my own, if I was in bad traffic or something, I'd be counting, I am at peace, I am at peace. And then I noticed the more I did it, was I am at peace. And that was a little high sign for me that, okay, here's something physical that you can recognize when you're really stressed. So
yes, and so I am at peace. So in my world, you created an anchor, a neuro association, a habit, right? And then you're bringing on all these things that you want instead of what you don't want. You're using the I am, so you're doing an affirmation that's a moving affirmation. And so then, you know, throw in, so I'll do this with you guys when you're in hypnosis. I forgot to tell you, everybody gets hypnotized. This is called the Randi Light Experience. But I'll add that so you can have that, and it can make you feel peace when you do it. Not just because you're doing it, but because we're going to have you go to a peaceful time and install it in this move. Okay.
Because some of the simplest things like that move are the most healing. You know, sometimes we expect this big answer that's, you know, got a load of science behind it, and maybe it does. I don't know. But
well, it does now in my field.
Right, yeah. But that's
okay. So you started meditating, and what did you notice that you were paying more attention to?
I was paying more attention to my body, and I started taking my health a whole, you know, everything comes in increments, and I just started taking things a whole lot more serious.
Nancy.
I even attended a week-long detox program up in Michigan. Unfortunately, the place is disbanded now, but it was taking green drinks and salads as a way of detoxing. Well, I had gone raw, even prepping for that. The place recommended that you kind of ease into it before you just, otherwise it really knocks you for a loop. And so I did that, and I had a major healing crisis. I mean, it really ripped me.
Before you went?
No, during this week-long green drink thing. And not to scare anybody, but I was bad. And I had stirred the cesspool that is my lymph system so hard that it brought up a tumor. It brought up a dozen gallbladder stones and liver stones.
What do you mean brought up?
I threw it up after about 3 days.
You saw
green
these
drinks.
things?
Yeah, and you have a freak out moment because you think, am I dying? And it's like, no, what the body gets rid of what it doesn't want. And even with my kidney, the body protected me by encapsulating it. You know, we're a miracle. We're a miracle, and we're designed in such a way that the body wants to heal itself, but we kind of have gotten this, we're slaves to our taste buds, and that's part of the issue, you know, and we're slaves to our minds as well.
We don't have to be.
No, and by changing belief systems and not letting that stuff control you, you get a handle on true health.
So I have a movie, and I think you can probably get it on Netflix. It's a documentary, and it's called Reversing the Irreversible. And they have 37 people that have cured themselves of incurable diseases or reverse disease. And even, you know, people who've been diabetics on insulin for 30 years. And you're a perfect example. And it was doing raw foods. Now, I know for me, I have colon issues. Raw foods are hard on me, but, you know, green juices, I can do the juices. And Nancy, Truth, yes. So Nancy is going to be on our show next week.
Oh, great.
She's the one who overcame Lyme disease and is now a healer. So, and you're a healer today. So yes. Okay. So you guys, well, let's just recap real quickly. So changing the diet, but then doing a detox, right?
A big detox. And that was just
physical. So we do the emotional detox and the physical.
And actually that detox was another catalyst to think, okay, well, I have to learn more about this. And I had started watching Dr. Robert Morris on YouTube prior to even taking the Michigan trip. So I could kind of find out how to prepare myself. You know, sometimes you hear horror stories and it can be scary, and it doesn't have to be, because there's usually things you can do if you're having a really rough time, like castor oil packs, you know, with heat. That's one way of soothing the body, and he's got a million
and that's an Edgar Casey thing. I know. So we have a few more minutes, I know, and then we'll get into hypnotizing everyone to incorporate some of these things so you can have better health. But yeah, castor oil packs can draw out inflammation, right?
Right. And it took about 1.5 years once because I was vegetarian, but still junk food. But once I committed after the big detox for a week, then I thought, no, I've got to get really just serious. Otherwise, this is going to take me out. And as Dr. Morse says, sometimes you got the time to go slow, and sometimes you're at that last thing. The body's saying, okay, enough already. So, you know, it's a personal journey. And I had to find what worked for me. Fruits and fruit-like vegetables were very hydrating, and that was the choice for me. When I eat things like broccoli, I can't eat broccoli raw, not even juiced. It's too strong, and it's I get all kinds of other issues with digestion. So I stuck, while I was detoxing, I stuck to melons, watermelons, all kinds of honeydews, cantaloupe, and ate those separate, because even those are big pullers. They pull toxins out of you. And so you have to eat them very slow and chew them very well, so you get the digestive juices.
That's for what?
For detox.
For detox, because I mean,
anytime you eat melons, really, you should eat them separately, in my opinion, because you get a little bellyache, and it's just too fast for the system, and it's pulling toxins out. So that's the thing. And then grapes. There's a book called The Grape Cure, came out umpteen million years ago, and that saved a lot of lives. It takes a lot of determination. I'm not saying it's for everybody, because some people, you know, food's very emotional, and you have to go at your own pace and decide what's right for you. It's all about discernment. And I don't advocate anything that's gonna You know, you have to go at your own pace. Pacing and frequency, you know, you find somebody that matches the frequency that you're ready for. You know, we all don't start out as marathon runners. You've got to do the work and learn about yourself to get to the point where you can handle things. And Dr. Morse, I highly recommend, if you've got the time, to watch his videos. He reads, his channel is dedicated to teaching people how to be coaches for detoxification. So you kind of have to look at it from that angle. I'm not a coach, don't want to be a coach, and I'm still a work in progress for myself. But he helped me see, get rid of medical thinking, which is, you know, again, if I had a bone sticking out or if I had something, medical would be the way to go for me. But if I can detox it out and be gentle on myself, I'm going to choose that.
So do you see Cynthia's? Hi, Cynthia. She said, Barb, you're awesome. Yes. And a true testimony to courage and discipline. Love you both. Yes.
Thank you.
Cynthia's who we were talking about earlier that got Barb on her path, and she's a beautiful yoga instructor. Mm-hmm. And Marsha wants us to spell Morse. The doctor.
It's M-O-R-S-E, Robert Morse, and he's a naturopath. So there's a little ND after his name. And he's out of Port Charlotte, Florida. And he does have a site for herbs, which I used as support. And he's got a whole protocol for if you want to do like a 14-week detox. And depending on, you know, what your needs are,
right.
He recommends everybody deworm themselves and with herbs and a detox first before you even dive deep. And that certainly helped me as well.
Interesting. Yeah.
So, and you know, there are tons of herbs. I just brought these packages to show today. I don't know if they'll show up, but one is called Heal All Tea, and it's kind of an overall tea that will help anyone. And then the other is 3-lung tea, and that was a little bit more specific to my needs.
And you have something over there. Is that an eye thing? Or what is that?
I also, Dr. Morse promotes iridology, and if you take pictures of your eyes,
yes,
but if you look on Google or any of those types of things, you can get Dr. Bernard Jensen's original iridology charts, and they show where the eyes are an interesting thing. Harvard Medical was teaching this up until I think like 1985, and why they dropped it, I don't know. But iridology studies the eyes, and it shows like the tongue is a muscle, and it's probably the only muscle that you can see. That's why the Chinese used it, and Ayurvedic medicine they use it as well. But the eyes are the same deal. You can actually see drug deposits in the eyes. If you've had surgery and a big thing of drugs, it's going to show up. And you can also see how blocked your lymph system is. And you can see, they believe that you can even see the wellness in the body, you know, and where you need to work. And there's a whole study of that.
Yeah, so at the Mid-America Hypnosis Conference, for those of you who live in the Midwest, the Mid-America Hypnosis happens like every year in October in Northbrook, Illinois, and there's an exhibit room, and I have a table, and I present on it. It's fascinating and spot on is what we're finding out.
And there are other people online too. I would recommend Mark James Gordon. He has a channel on YouTube and did live presentations very much like this, where people would ask questions and he would give a detoxification information. He also has very simplified white chalkboard videos describing the process of detoxification, and I found those really
so that's the
helpful.
key. So in the Gerson Institute and Gerson Therapy, and those are books, Gerson. Dr. Gerson was around in the early 1900s, but the whole concept of disease is toxicity and deficiency. And that's exactly
right.
And toxicity can also be your thoughts, right? And your belief systems,
absolutely.
not just the 10 candy bars a day, but they're both very, very important to get rid of that toxins. So let's like wrap up here some of the things, and then we're gonna do that.
I also, during the time that I was detoxing, I ordered like this, it was under $100, a personal size sauna, wet sauna, that I use daily for like 45 minutes. And it got me sweating. In naturopathy, they consider the third kidney is the skin, because you can process a lot of toxins and stuff through the skin. So I did that. I also rebounded without my feet leaving the trampoline for 10, 20 minutes, a couple times a day. When you're detoxing, this is a whole different art. When you're detoxing, you don't want to do strenuous workouts, because it creates more acids in the body that you have to, and it can overload your system. You want to do detox at the speed that your body can rid itself of the toxins, and that's also a key element. So did you have a doctor supervising all of this? I didn't. It's like we all have our financial things, and I just didn't really have the means, and I was kind of tired of like I wanted to just concentrate on my own body, and I researched the heck out of it.
This is where your type A comes in, right?
Yeah, I checked every website, and there's a lot of information out there, but again, discernment. And I had one big detoxing week under my belt, so I felt comfortable, and I felt like those people gave a lot of great information, even though fruit turned out to be the better way for me to detox.
Yes. And hi, Chantel, welcome. Welcome all of you. All right, so we're gonna wrap up. A couple more minutes. What are some of the most important highlights you want to share? And then
never let anybody take your hope away. No matter what somebody's labeled you with, don't let them take your hope away. That's and losing your health over junk food, that's just crazy. And it took me, I got a lot of boulders instead of the rock and the pebble to figure that out. Find what works for you. Eating is emotional, and if you know this going in, Randi did a video a couple weeks ago about walking into the kitchen and thinking, what am I walking in here for? And to grab an apple instead. So, detoxing may shock your friends and family, because they, people take change and belief system. You don't know until something comes down, and then people aren't always supportive. So you have to prepare yourself emotionally that this may not be your friends or your family's way of handling things. And if you ask for support, generally people who love you are going to say, you do what you got to do and go for it. And just don't let anybody sabotage you, and don't sabotage yourself. This is where changing those belief systems and getting a coach, if you can afford a coach, go for it.
I'm a coach.
Because it makes all the difference. And
it does.
Again, you don't have to, it's a pretty simple thing. And if you get somebody's great guidance,
yeah, coaching can help you in so many ways. Hypnosis can help you. And if you're stuck on sugar, I've had people come to overcome their sugar addictions.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not a quick fix. I mean, I'd love to tell you that, I just detoxed a week and all of a sudden the asthma was gone. That is not how it happened. This was a 1.5-year process. And even that was, it had its harrowing moments, especially when you titrate off of any heavy pharmaceuticals. I would highly recommend that you work with a medical professional. I was lucky to have somebody local in Chesterton who's now retired, but that helped me. And his biggest fear was that I was going to have a heart attack. After being on steroids. When you supplement the body with anything, when you supplement, and basically, I think, in my opinion, pharmaceuticals are a form of supplementation, because they're not really going after a cure or the cause. But when you do this, you just got to be really careful and know what you're doing and know what the obstacles are with each individual type of drug.
And so Liz, says coaches are important, especially when friends and family are not supporting changes and it's making to get healthy. Yes, you need support.
And people back in the day used to get really ticked at me because the smoking thing, and I didn't, I couldn't help it. I'd go into attack. I don't know what they thought, but that just was, not cool.
But yeah, my friends are not happy with me because we'll go to go see live music at some of the local places, and I'm like, I'm not going if it's smoking. I feel horrible the next day.
Yeah. So learn as much as you can. Get a coach. Learn about the lymph system. That's huge. I mean, that's a whole different thing on itself. The lymph system is our sewer system. It's how we get rid of stuff. I had lymph nodes cut out. I don't recommend it. I had my tonsils taken out at 27, and would I do that today again? No. That's the body's sewer system. It's how you get rid of stuff. So, in my opinion.
Do you see that? Barb, have you considered writing a book?
No, I'll leave
I'll write your story.
Yeah.
You guys, and the rounder, the rebounder is really good.
And this is by Dr. Robert Morris.
Nice.
I've read and reread this a million times, and it's got all kinds of things on herbs and lymph system, and it's just, I can't recommend his videos and his book highly enough.
All right, we're going to have to close up. I'm glad you guys are all joining us and having fun, and it's way longer than we normally ever go. But I hope you're getting, I know that people need this. There's a lot of chronic sickness out there, and you can get healthy. This is a perfect pillar of health.
Keep researching. Never let anybody take your hope away.
Yes, and hypnosis is so great for that. So let's do that. So let's get into a session. My dog's finally settling down, and just help you to feel good. So if you're multitasking, now's a good time to stop. You might as well. This improves your immune system and helps you feel great. You get to sit back or lie down as I guide you to a deep and relaxed and focused state. Liz, you're so welcome. She says thank you both. And you see that it's been great to listen. And now is the hypnotic part. So enjoy this part too. So go ahead, if you haven't already, sat down, stop what you're doing, and close those eyes. And take a deep belly breath in, not your shoulders, like Barb was saying. Hold your breath in for as long as you comfortably can. And as you're holding your breath in, look up above your eyebrows, connecting with your higher self and your intuition. And then lower your eyeballs. Tell yourself to relax and picture a healing sound wave flowing through you from the top of your head all the way to the tips of your toes. As you breathe out, just let it go. And let's do that again. Another deep belly breath in. Holding it in. Look up and connect with your higher self and your intuition. And then lower your eyeballs. Tell yourself to relax. And picture, hear, and feel a healing sound wave as you breathe out and lower those eyeballs. Allow that breath and your consciousness now to take you deeper and deeper to that place inside you where things change, where things heal, where insight lives. So let's do that one more time. Deep belly breath in. Hold it in, look up, really sense your intuition and higher self right there. And then when you breathe out, lower the eyeballs and just allow yourself to relax and melt right there into the chair. Now, I'm going to count backwards from 3 down to 1. Just allow each number you hear me say to relax you and deepen you. When I snap my fingers, arrive in your favorite place on earth, whether it's indoors or outdoors or right in the lake or by a waterfall. Just as soon as I snap my fingers, immerse yourself in one of your favorite places where you can just feel absolutely wonderful. So with the count of 3, double that relaxation. 2, drift down even deeper. And with the count of 1, arrive now in a peaceful place, a sacred space. Notice what the ground or floor is made of, the plants, the animals. Listen for the sounds of water if there is, and begin to feel the warmth of the radiant sun on your face and your body, soothing you, comforting you, relaxing every cell. And just go ahead and allow that radiant sun to just flow in through your skin, into your cells, relaxing the muscles. So you just melt right there into the chair. And just allow every breath that you breathe in and out to relax you deeper and deeper. Allow any sounds you hear to relax you. And go ahead and do smiling meditation. Just smile. When you smile, you release chemicals that make you feel good. Your body and mind doesn't know whether you have something to smile about, so smile. You can think of something funny too and laugh, and it just feels so good. This changes how you feel. And then you can decide right now something that you want. Now, maybe you want to release sugar from your life. Maybe you want to eat healthier, more greens or more fruits slower. Just take a moment to think about something you want to incorporate, what you learned today. Maybe you want to research Dr. Robert Morse and do a detox for your mind, for your body, and your life. So decide right now something that would be really good for you, wherever you are in your journey. And make a commitment to learning more about it and how to do it. Set an intention of what you want. And you know what? Take a moment to feel it as if it already exists. Notice how much better you feel when your lymph glands are flowing optimally, where you chew a piece of sweet fruit and it's juicy and lush, nice and slowly. You might even chew each bite 17 times because it's juicy, it's sweet, it's delicious. And when you eat it, you honor it. And when you eat it slowly, you honor it even more, and your body can absorb the nutrients and get nourished because it's filled with water, it's filled with nutrients. Sense that, some special fruit that's just right for you right now that can help you on your journey. And it's time for you to remember what Cynthia taught Barb, and I think it goes, I am at peace. So go ahead, and before we start doing it, think of a time where you felt very peace. Now, it could be right now, could have been many years ago. Go ahead and get into the state, the vibration, and the memory of a peaceful moment, a peaceful memory. I mean, become a time traveler. So pick the memory. Could have been walking on the beach. It could be sitting somewhere by a waterfall. It could be on top of a mountain. You could be in somebody's arms. Think of a peaceful place, a peaceful memory. I'm going to count backwards, and you are going to relive that memory to access the state and anchor it into your fingers. So with the count of 3, time travel back to that wonderful feeling and memory. 2, you're almost there. 1, be in your peaceful memory now. See the details, hear the sounds, feel the wonderful feelings of peace. You might give it a color. It might have a sweet sound and a symbol. Keep rewinding it and replaying it and make that peaceful feeling even stronger and brighter and bigger. And now that you've got this feeling, now it's time, with either one hand or both hands, completely up to you. I am at peace. Now you can say it out loud or in your mind or both. I am at peace. I am at peace. I am at peace. I am at peace. Rewind and replay and connect with that feeling and do it again. I am at peace. I am at peace. I am at peace. Now picture a time, whether you're driving or you have a meeting or you have to deal with a teenager, something where you want to feel more peace. Picture it in your mind right now, you actually doing this. Like just imagine doing it in this future moment. You could do it here and now at the same time. But at the same time you imagine yourself doing it, do it here and now. I am at peace. I am at peace. And then notice yourself responding from that peaceful place. You respond resourcefully. You're at peace, so you handle the situation optimally, resourcefully. You feel waves of peace washing over you. This is a gift for you today from Barb, from Cynthia, and from me. Get healthy. And now I'm going to count from 1 to 3. When I get to 3, I'll snap my fingers and you will open your eyes, energized, like you had an incredible power nap, feeling absolutely peaceful and allowing that peaceful feeling of well-being to stay with you through the rest of the day and into the evening so you have a great night's sleep. Starting right now with the count of 1, take a big, deep energy breath in. 2, speeding up into the present. And with a count of 3, open those eyes. Welcome back, everybody. Yeah. And Liz says, thank you both. It's been a great listen. We're honored that you were listening. All of you guys, if you have questions, you better get them in now. If you like that, let us know. And I just got to tell you a couple more things before we finish up. But Barb, thank you so much.
Oh, namaste.
Yes.
Thank you.
Namaste. It's been a beautiful journey to hear this. And so I'm going to post some of the information here as well. And you can reach out to me to find out more about emotional detox, physical detox, and I can assist you with some of the things that Barb is sharing and anything else, so I can connect with Barb. But you know, come through me, you can message me or anything like that. But also you can say things here and she might show up here too. But our next show is something very similar, but it'll probably be very different. You're so welcome. Nancy says, thank you for the presentation. Yeah. And next is Nancy Cleet-Dolan, and she overcame Lyme's disease. So she's going to share with us. She is actually, so Nancy is, she also is called, had an incurable disease and was told she had permanent neurological damage, all gone. And that was years for her too. She is now actually a healer. And she's going to share her 7 steps towards self-healing. So that'll be next week. So please let people know about this, because you can have hope and you can get well. Marsha, can you see that? So yes. Informative. Thank you. Looking forward. All right, you guys, we'll see you guys next week. Randi Light, please reach out to me. I always offer $50 savings. If you want to do a private session with me, just mention Facebook Live.
Like and share.
Like and share.
Good stuff.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone. Take care.